Hey, what's up, folks? It's Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, the channel that always has your back and tells it like it is. Well, I've got your weekly Jasmy update today, and we have got a lot to cover. I've got probably 10 different topics in this one. We're going to cover, obviously, the charts. We're going to cover a central exchange listing. We've got a lot in terms of some FUD that was going on this past week. Just a whole lot to unpack, some promotional stuff. We're going to be taking a look at some white paper things, as well as, talking about the team a little bit. So I've got a whole lot in this video. Hopefully we cover everything for you in a way that's common sense, that's easy to understand. That's the whole point of this channel, is to sort of dissect this stuff in an easy to follow way. And with that, I would also give you a heads up that we have transitioned our weekly Jasmy call that we were doing on Sunday afternoons. We've been doing that on Tuesday evenings. So if you're out there and you're not doing anything Tuesday, look out for those calls on Twitter. Usually I retweet them as well as the other guys in the group, right? So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And now, let's get it going. All right, what's up, everybody? So I want to kick off this video here at Hara's page with, we only really had one big tweet from this last week for him. Actually, kind of a quiet week for him. But the tweet was announcing July 2nd is Jasmy and Tokyo Token's sponsored match day for Sagan Tosu. So they're going to be giving away 10,000 of the jerseys that are in this photo right here. Pretty awesome. I know I saw in the comments that a lot of the people in the Jasmy community really like this jersey, would like to get one. So some people were talking about they're going to be combing eBay afterwards, see if any of these come up for sale. But, if you look at this jersey and the investment that it is, any jersey, no matter where you're at pretty much today, minor league team, whatever, if you go and try and buy a jersey from a match of a team, it's at least $100, if not more. So the fact that they're giving away 10,000 of these is pretty awesome, right? Big time investment. Now, moving forward over here at YouTube. So Binance Academy launched this video here. It's only about 3 minutes long. Highly recommend you following it, and I will leave a link to it in the video description. The video itself is just a very simple, easy to watch Jasmy video that just kind of explains all about Jasmy and the metaverse and whatnot. So I watched it, thought it was a great video. And the big takeaway that I took from it, here is a headline from Reddit that basically said that the Jasmy Metaverse 2.0 was launching on July 15th. So that's pretty awesome. And that is right around the corner. So a little over a month away, we should have Jasmy Metaverse 2.0 that will be coming out, and that kind of corresponds with that Binance Academy video. So by all means, check those out, click the link. You could probably learn a lot, and the video itself is only like 3 minutes long, right? Now, I also wanted to go over here to Etherscan, so I'm not going to go too in-depth into this because I know Zach was covering this at Learn Cryptology. If you're not following him yet, give him a follow. He does a lot of digging on this stuff. In terms of the outstanding tokens and how they correspond to the white paper. What I was looking at here, though, was, we always focus on these 500 million token wallets because when we had the first 25 weeks of IR, that's when the price was diluted, when they were getting those out on the exchanges. As of right now, we've got 19 wallets that are 500 million. Of the 400 million token wallets, we've got 9, and of the 300 million, we have 7. And the big movement over this past week was we had one of these 500 million token wallets move. And I actually posted about this a few days ago when that happened. I was able to trace the transaction. It was a 200 million transaction that moved over MEXC, the exchange. So Jasmy has to provide liquidity to the various exchanges. In every listing that comes out, they have to provide liquidity. So this is all part of the plan of providing that liquidity. And in this case, it went to MEXC. Now, the reason I bring that up is here's a screenshot from the white paper on the market supply. And I had mentioned this, I think, in last week's video, maybe the one before as well, that we're kind of right between this basically period of growth and value. This is the second period, along with the third one, period of ecosystem expansion. So by the time we get to here, basically another 30% of the total 50 billion coins will have been released. So where we're at today with the circulating supply, a lot of people get confused about this because the coin market cap number is wrong. But if you just kind of highlight your cursor over the check mark, if you're looking at it on coin market cap, you can see that the self-reported circulating supply, that's the number that Jasmy is given coin market cap, is 30.8 billion, which is near 62%. So we basically have, what I'm getting at is another 28% of the total to go, which equates to roughly about 14 billion coins. So by the time we get to, we're fully in period 3, the period of ecosystem expansion, then those coins should be out there on the market. So 14 billion coins. So as of right now, we're kind of way down here. So we still have a ways to go to get all the way up to there, the way it's projected in the white paper. All right. Okay, now moving forward, we had one listing here with this crypto mat. So Jasmy was listed on there. And I want to say, I think I had seen somewhere where somebody said this was an Estonia exchange, a crypto exchange. So that's where that one is based out of. So pretty bullish on that front. They had a significant amount of users too. It was over, I think it was over 1 million, as I recall. So another listing, and that's all part of the 50 weeks of IR that should run all the way through, I want to say, until early September. Okay, so expect more of those. Next, we had this post here by Brian with some of the information here, and Joe Dirt, which great name, by the way. Joe Dirt had commented on this one that it looks like that was the book that was allegedly used at the seminars while they tried to do an ICO. Not a lot of clarity of what exactly went down in the early days, but a lot of Japanese were scammed. And so he then says that, this guy here at this account goes to post about it. So I kind of had to comment on this because I've already talked about this in other videos, that this whole ICO scam. So what happened was, in the early days of the coin, there was a fraudulent agency / third party person in Japan who marketed themselves as being Jasmy. And so investors, thinking they were getting into the ICO early and then they would then get coins in return for their investment, invested into this third party. Well, they never received the coins, the Jasmy tokens, nor did they receive their investment back because it was a scammer. So the scammer simply marketed themselves as Jasmy. They were not. They took the money, and that was it. So this turned into as far as I know, it's a class action lawsuit right now in Japan. And it has nothing at all to do with the actual Jasmy team whatsoever. Nothing at all to do with them. And so this particular account here that Joe Dirt cited, I checked this thing out, and every single post in this account, every single one is FUD. Every single one. And, whenever I look at an account like that is so purposefully driven one way or the other, I am highly, highly skeptical. So I don't know who the heck this person is. And I even said that in my comment right here, it's hard to take anyone seriously who basically can't show their face. Okay. You can see who I am. I'm right here, right? I'm not anonymous. I'll tell you exactly what I think objectively. If there's something that I think the community needs to be aware of, I will absolutely tell you. The reason why is because I think ethics are important. It's important to be ethical. It's also, from a legal standpoint, you need to tell the truth. All right. So there's a lot of accounts out there that are on Twitter, Discord, all over the place that are purpose-driven one way or the other, and you never really know what angle they're playing, especially when they're anonymous. And that's exactly what this account's doing. So this account basically just posts on and on and on, tagging Hara and whoever else with Jasmy about how they were scammed at the ICO and it's all their fault. Well, Hara and the rest of the team at Jasmy had nothing to do with it. So no, it's not their fault. And no, they don't owe you anything at all because they weren't involved in it. It is a third party scam. That's exactly what it was. Okay. So anyhow, we kind of went down the rabbit hole in this post all about the scammers and the way this whole thing unfolded. And Joe Dirt had mentioned that, basically he thought, there could be something there at the beginning and whatnot, right? And I kind of said, look, I view it like this. And this is where I don't think people really have an accurate perspective of what any of this is. So first of all, Kunitake Ando, he ran Sony for years and years and years and years, right? All the other guys, with the exception of Haro, were high up executives at Sony, prominent. They've been doing this for, each of them like 30, 40, 50 years, most of them with the exception of Hara. Okay. He came from KPMG. And so why on earth would any of the highest level of Sony, a company that's known for quality, Japan, a country that's known for integrity, ethics, honor, why would any of these people in particular, what would their motivation be to screw over investors in an ICO? I can't think of one. That, like I said, would be basically the dumbest plan that anybody could ever do. And why they would do it makes no sense at all, because most of them were probably already rich, especially Kunitake Ando, Katsumasa Sato. Those guys were already probably rich, all right? They were probably already making millions from all of their time at Sony, all right? So why exactly would they then turn around and scam a handful of investors at, through a third party on Jasmy Coin? I mean, this is the kind of thing that is so dumb. It's on a catastrophic kind of stratospheric. That's the word I'm looking for. A stratospheric level. It reminds me of there was a thing here in the U.S. about Hillary Clinton in a pizza sex shop in D.C. or just something like that, and it was the dumbest thing that I have ever heard. And this kind of follows that same line. It's so far out there that it's just crazy. And for anybody who doesn't know the backstory and the context, they hear it and they go, oh, well, is there something here to that? No, there isn't. There is nothing here to this. So I wanted to highlight that in this video because this is FUD, and accounts like this anonymous one here just continue this endlessly. They just keep posting about this, even though they have no idea what they're talking about. And on top of that, you don't know who they are. I have no idea who that is. That could be the person who scammed everybody in the first place. No idea, don't know, right? So anyways, I wouldn't take them seriously in the slightest. And, here's a great comment too from Dip Metaverse. If it was really a scam, they'd all be in jail right now. Good point, okay? Moving on. So, so this was a good one. Also, Dip Metaverse, so shout out to you. So give him a follow if you're not yet. He posts some good info on Jasmy. And he had watched my last video where I was talking about, who's bankrolled it. And he said, well, here's some of who's bankrolled Jasmy. And so if you look at this was from 2021. And it says, Jasmy announces Branch Bank Capital, Block Asset Management, Bitrise Capital, Chain Capital, Turbo 6, well-known investment capital, and other institutions invested nearly 200 million US dollars. And he's right. So they did that in 2021. Now, remember, Jasmy was founded in 2016, okay? It was also all of the same guys were working as that Advent Incorporated or Limited, whatever it was, around the same time. And so did they bankroll it themselves, just them funding it, which is possible, which I think my friend Shitcoin Fundamentals pointed that out, that, hey, these guys were probably already pretty loaded and they could have easily funded this themselves. True. That's 100% true. But, the whole consortium / government / Keiretsu, that is the combining of companies in Japan that work together for a common goal or purpose, I think plays a significant role here. And this is completely different from the US. So if you're comparing this to the US, for example, it would be kind of like if, let's say, Apple, let's say, what's a US company? Ford, and somebody else, decided to team up for a common goal or purpose. And sometimes that does happen here, but in Japan, they make it, it's a pointed sort of government directive. It's incentivized by the government. So we don't really know what, if anything, the government may have contributed to this. Did they contribute with incentives? It is possible. In the various research that Brian Russell's done, shout out to Brian, all of these guys that are within Jasmy, and some of them who have also left, like Masanobu Yoshida, he was behind the Sony Klee. I want to say he was involved in Sony Ericsson phones, and then he was involved in the iPhone. All of these guys are in various government boards, not just one, but multiples. And so they interlap with all layers of business in Japan, and therefore they then work together in these consortiums. And so with that, I also wanted to share this. This was from the Jasmy Whitepaper, where it talks about Jasmy Net. And in particular, I wanted to highlight this part right here where it says Jasmy Net is a network environment in which only authorized member companies of the consortium can participate, who are mainly large-scale enterprises. So there it is right in the Jasmy white paper, the reference to the consortium idea. Now, they don't talk about the Keiretsu, which is the Japanese term for it, but they do talk about consortium. So there it is, working together. And I'll show this part here in a second. We'll get back to that. So let me move over to the next one here. So in this article, or in this post, I specifically mentioned that. And I don't recall exactly what the original post was in here. Let me see here. Let's see. The whole thing, maybe, maybe not. Yes, Joe Dirt was wondering about this one too. And I had mentioned here that the Keiretsu consortium idea appears to be very real with the partnership with WITS and Toyota. Hara had retweeted the Keiretsu with SBI, Remix Point, BitPoint, B2C2. Why? Then we had Secure Guardian invented at Sony, used patented at Jasmy, and that's where this ties into Tadashi Morita. So he is the one who invented it at Sony. He is now at Jasmy, right? So again, that consortium idea. And I had mentioned that they were also part of numerous government boards, right? And so taking this one step further, there was a post here on Reddit with the bit of a banking angle. Where is it? Is this it right here? Let me see here. Yeah, here we go. So Jasmy, Coinbase, and MUFG in August. Coinbase announced it would start operating in Japan. 2 months later, they listed Jasmy. Now, this was from 6 months ago. Now, this guy here on Reddit, he's pretty good on the Jasmy posts. I've seen him around, this LilBidMan. So he says, Jasmy's working with Transcosmos and Line, which is a subsidiary of Z Holdings. Z Holdings is owned by SoftBank and Naver Corp. Naver Corp is a South Korean development conglomerate that owns a search engine and other subsidiaries. There seems to be a big plan underneath all these corporations and their subsidiaries working together. That's my point. So all of these in the consortium, the Keiretsu, they are working together, and that's pretty obvious, okay? Now, going back to this post I had just showed you, a bit out of order here, was this post by Sayan1K. So Blake posted this one, and I had seen this posted on Reddit as well. I'm not sure if that was Blake posting or someone else, but there was a post that said VAIO will be taking orders for their new S15 VJS 155 model in June. And the person was wondering, does the VJS stand for VAIO, Jasmy, Sony? We don't know. So at the moment, who knows? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Either way, we know that the team at Jasmy has worked with VAIO for years. They worked with them when they were Advent. So prior to this, they also worked with them when they were Sony and VAIO was Sony. So there are long-standing relationships here. So there's no reason to think there wouldn't be further partnership, especially with the chip, right? Okay. Moving forward. So I had another one here that I wanted to talk about, and this was a posting that Brian had shared. And this specifically was talking about the DD token services. So, for anybody who's been following Jasmy, there have been some developments lately about this DD coin. Well, they've also talked about DD token. So, usually in cryptocurrency, coin and token are interchangeable. Well, in this case, it doesn't sound like they are. So, they're not. Okay. And Brian had actually also posted another article, I want to say it was today, about how the Japanese government just approved some rules around stable coins in particular, that they have to be pegged to a collateralized asset such as the yen. Okay, so that's where all this kind of ties in together. So, what I'm getting at here is that outside of the Jasmy utility token, that's the one that you and me are investing in, if you were to do like the personal data locker, for example, they would pay you back in DD coin. That is a stable coin. DD coin is a stable coin based on the Japanese yen. Now, the other angle here is this DD token service. So, specifically, what they're talking about here, and they mention it down below, is the Sagan Tosu. The DD token service are basically those fan tokens that you can buy that then give you inside access to the team. So, as I've talked about this before, I think this is like a really cool idea. And I don't know how much they're even doing this, if not at all, in America yet. But I know they're doing it in Europe already with some of the other blockchain projects that are out there, like Chili's, for example, that does this kind of thing. And so the way it works is that if you were to buy that, let's say in this case, DD token, if you were to get a DD token for Sagan Tosu, it could give you insider access or insider perks. So let's say they have a practice day that's not open to the public, but is open to the holders of DD token. Well, you could go and attend that, and they could check that off on your phone that you're one of those holders, and then you could see the team. They could do a private meet and greet or a private dinner, and you could go and attend that, and you could meet members of the team and have them sign autographs, things like that. You could also do it in a way for like, things like customizing the stadium where they play or changes in the uniform. Hey, those who are DD token holders can now vote on this and weigh in on it, etc. So that's kind of how that whole other angle works. And I think it's a little bit confusing that they picked the same basically name for both of these. So the DD stands for data democratization. I get that part. But the coin is the stable coin, which they should probably say DD stable coin. And the other one is the DD token service, which applies to like Sagan Tosu and these various sporting events, teams, etc. So that's what that is. Just wanted to highlight that to kind of clear that up for anybody who's not sure or who has seen that and didn't know about it or whatnot. If you're new to Jasmy, some of this is sometimes hard to follow. And those of us like myself that are in this space, we've been doing tons and tons of research on this for months and months. So that's why we're trying to fill in the blanks here, right? Now, lastly, just wanted to move over to the chart and take a look at what's happening. So the current Jasmy chart right here, I wanted to highlight this lower line here, this 0.008. If we go back in time, let me go back in time here. You'll see that Jasmy has sort of been around that level, that 0.008, multiple times throughout its life cycle. So we hit it back here. We were near it here. We hit it again there. And then right now we are currently riding this trend up. All right. So if we can stay within this trend line, then we'll keep on cruising upward. If not, and we fall below, then the lowest that I foresee this coin ever going is 0.008. So it hasn't done anything lower than that yet. Now, what I would say, though, which is, I think, going to be critically important, is Bitcoin's influence on how it pushes this. Now, I know there's other guys in the space that kind of disagree with me over Bitcoin's influence, but Bitcoin is still very influential in my view. And Bitcoin can push Jasmy one way or the other, though Jasmy is trying to deviate. And by the way, we are well over 28,000 holders right now. That number keeps going up. I did want to say I checked that on CoinMarketCap, and the numbers are wrong. It says 27,000, but if you go over to Etherscan, it's like 28.6, 28.7, so it's significantly higher. So CoinMarketCap seems to be having some issues lately. I'm not really sure why. But anyway, going back to the chart here. So we're currently riding this trend. Our volume is a little bit lower at the moment, but still a fabulous time to do your DCA. And I wanted to show you in particular with Bitcoin how it could possibly swing this one way or the other and influence the market. Let's see if I can get this thing to load here. What's going on? All right, so here is Bitcoin. So we're going to cruise on over to the Bitcoin chart and just kind of show you how this could influence. So I showed this in the video that I did yesterday on Bitcoin and the crypto market in general, but we're floating right at the bottom of this trend. So if we can hold this trend line in Bitcoin and pop through here, then I think we get a nice little rebound through the month of June. If that happens, I think Jasmy will absolutely run with it, right? If on the other hand, we go and we hit this resistance level and then we break down into this lower section here, then Jasmy could also trend lower, okay? So that's still very possible. We're not out of the woods yet. You know, Bitcoin is still firmly bearish with the 200-day moving average on top and the 20-day on the bottom. But with Jasmy in particular, I wanted to go back here. Let me see. Let me find my Jasmy chart. So going back to Jasmy, I want to highlight the EMAs here. So you can see here that, here we go. Let's just shrink that up a little bit. Okay, there we go. So you can see here this dark blue line coming in from up top. That's the 200-day moving average. So the green line's the 50-day, red line's the 20-day. Now, the tighter these get together, the higher the chance that they flip bull and go bullish, all right? So as this 200-day average keeps trending closer and closer, that increases the odds that we will switch back bullish here on Jasmy. So I think that's really important. So anyways, right now, we'll see what happens with Bitcoin in the month of June, whether it can pull that rebound or not. Ultimately, I think we'll probably dip a little bit further after that. We've also got the rest of the 50 weeks of IR. So we've got some more dilution that will come in this one. And so basically, Jasmy is a steady DCA. And that's what I've advocated pretty much from day one with this coin, is that it's a steady DCA project, but it's a really good project. And so what I'm really interested in seeing is that release of the metaverse in July on the 15th. We'll see what happens with that. And so anyhow, I know we've talked about a lot in this video. I wanted to just sum it all up with some final thoughts here in a minute and then bring it on home. If you're enjoying today's video and want to learn more, make sure to visit our website at KIRfinance.com, your one-stop resource shop. Once you're at the site, the first thing to do is provide your email in order to be made aware of future announcements, including blog posts, products, and services. Next, check out the About Me section for a little bit about our mission and how we plan to pay it forward. We also have links to our social media, including Twitter and YouTube. Our brand new Patreon page was also just launched with the website, where users are offered various membership tiers for exclusive content and access. We even have a blog now where I plan to post daily financial articles. There's also a link to our merch shop where we've got KIR Finance product options for the whole family. Our affiliate links are posted for endorsed platforms. Just click the picture. NFTs are also available now at OpenSea.io. We have a financial education section, which includes my book on personal finance and soon-to-be course links. And lastly, if you'd simply like to leave a tip, you also have that option, and we'll mention your support in our next video. Thanks for watching, and now let's get back to the video. All right, so for some final thoughts in today's video. So first of all, those jerseys on the promotional day are super cool. I gotta agree with that, and it looks like they will be going to 10,000 of the first people going to that match. So hopefully they all get jerseys. Hopefully some of them resell those jerseys on eBay and the rest of us can pick them up later, right? Now, outside of that, in terms of the other news that happened, we had that one exchange listing that was bullish. No other exchange listings, but I would expect more as we continue the rest of the 50 weeks of IR that should take us, as I mentioned earlier, into September. On the Consortium Keiretsu front, so that's exactly what's happening with all these Japanese companies. They are working together and they are doing it strategically, and they are incentivized by the government to do so, as well as the various government boards that executives from all those companies are on together and crossing over. So it does appear that that's the case, and I think that will be the case moving forward. So in terms of Jasmy and other big players in Japan, yes, it is working with various big players in Japan, okay? Now, going back to that FUD issue and the ICO scam that happened, I have yet to see a single bit of evidence anywhere that ties any of that back to the team at Jasmy. On top of which, it makes absolutely no sense for anyone at the team at Jasmy to be involved in that whatsoever. It makes no sense whatsoever, so I'm not really sure why this keeps coming up, other than there are accounts like that FUD account that's all they do is they post about that over and over and over. Now, Jasmy has said it, and I didn't highlight it earlier, but they have said it publicly that you will never get coins directly from us. That is not how this works, okay? You buy the coins from an exchange. You will never get the coins directly from Jasmy. And they said as much, okay? So I really don't see anything there. If something does come up there, by all means, I would tweet about it. If there was some sort of a corporate misstep, I would absolutely acknowledge that. And you know, maybe something like that could have been possible because again, this is their very first foray into cryptocurrency. However, everything I've seen to date, there is not a single piece of supporting evidence that supports that. And everything that I have read on that topic in particular makes it appear as though this was a third party portraying themselves as Jasmy when in fact they were not. And then they went ahead and they did this scam where the investors sent the money, they never got any coins, they never got their money back, and now it's a lawsuit, okay? So that's pretty much it on that front. Now, moving forward in terms of things to look forward to, we got that Jasmy 2.0 Metaverse release coming up mid-July. So that should be pretty cool when that comes out. The Binance video on the Binance Academy as well as the Binance Academy article are extremely important, so check those out. They really go into the metaverse big time, so for anybody who isn't familiar with this, follow those. They're very easy to follow. The video is 3 minutes long. The article is like a 5-minute read. Gives you full background on exactly what's happening with Jasmy in the metaverse, so by all means check that out. And then lastly, regarding the chart, regarding Etherscan, we did have some coins start moving. I would expect even more to be moving from now till August, September. That should be happening. In terms of the chart itself, it does have some potential to run up if Bitcoin performs in June. If Bitcoin ends up falling flat in June, then it could dip into that lower quadrant again, which ultimately is fine because right now is the time where you do your DCA, you stack up, and then down the road, when things really take off, you'll be well prepared. All right, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget that I'm also on Twitter at KIR Finance, where you can find me tweeting and retweeting on a regular basis. Check me out there. And lastly, for a friendly reminder, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always has your back, tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.